Jorge Masvidal is now calling out Nick Diaz in some fashion. What took so long? I don't understand what took so. You guys remember where all of this came from? So Nate and Masvidal fight, of which are they going to rematch? Because that's always weird with Nick, by the way. If Nick thinks that's his brother's fight, Nick's not going to take the fight. If Nate wants to fight George, Nick will be out. It's one of these things where for that to happen, as much as you guys want that to happen, as much as you're salivating at the mouth, do you care? And you might slightly, but do you care? If you get a Masvidal versus Nate or you get a Masvidal versus Nick, are you just in either way? Or does it need to be Nick? Is there something with big brother coming in to take on an opponent that little brother lost to? I get where that story works. But I'm telling you right now, before you get too excited, that's going to be a problem if Nate wants that rematch. It's just the way that works over there. So what did take Masvidal so long, though? I mean, that makes perfect sense. And you guys will remember where this came from. Okay, they go out, they fight for the BMF title at Madison Square Garden. Nick, 2 days later, is on Ariel Helwani's show and says things about Masvidal. Dismissed him completely. And it was very interesting. It was very entertaining. And that's also where Nick started to flirt or hint at the idea that he might be coming back. So that thing was red hot. It was red hot for a while, and then it dies off. And all of a sudden, here we are 2 years later, and now it looks like Nick is coming back, but doesn't have an opponent. And so Masvidal's inserted himself. And I'm wondering what took so long, because I love that fight. I would want to see Masvidal versus Nate. I do buy into the hype, at least slightly, that there was supposed to be 2 more rounds. I think that story works. Whether it was a reality or not for that particular contest, I think that works. If you want to have Big Brother come in, and who's Nick going to fight, right? I mean, I can go on and on about this topic, but I don't have a better idea for Nick. I would have a perfect idea for Nick if we heard from Nick. I mean, it seems to be the only part that's missing. And anytime you're doing a negotiation and you suggest something, if they don't like it, they should then suggest something back. That's how you get a deal done. But it appears that Nick's side is saying no when they don't like the idea, but not offering another name. And Nick's only given us a couple of clues, right? I mean, he made that statement one time years ago. I don't want to get in there and jump around with these younger guys. Okay. But then he drew right into Anderson Silva, who's helped to fit the bill, even if he had to leave the weight class. So are we left with we need a 3 and a 5 or up in the age category? Are we left with that? Is that a hard and fast? Or could it be more of a veteran? You know, you still got Carlos Condit out there. You still got Matt Brown out there. Damian Maia apparently just left. I only bring that to you because when we started to deduce who the likely suspects were, they just weren't quite as appetizing as some of the other names. And then we get hit with, by Dana, Khamzat Chimaev. Well, that fight doesn't happen. To my understanding, Khamzat is figuring out what to do right now, but has moved on from Diaz because we heard the talk of Luke Rockhold. So he's moving on. He's going to do something else. What does Nick do? We could go round and around. And it seems as though for the good news for Nick is every time an idea pops up, we like it. I have not heard a Nick Diaz idea pop up yet where people will go, yeah, I want to see that. Right? It's one of those things, and you can't do that with everybody. Not everybody's in one of those spots. Nick has something different, not to mention he is a commodity and he has a card that he gets to play once. A comeback fight is a big fight, but you only get one. So where are you going to use it? Who are you going to use it against? I love the Masvidal idea. I love the idea that Masvidal is even talking about that. I love the idea that Masvidal is coming back. Look, we never know when you're going to see Masvidal's last fight. Last couple of years have changed things for Masvidal. It has brought the end closer should he want it to be. Then it used to be an option. It is now a choice for Masvidal, but he's made it clear he's coming back. And if he's going to come back and just do special things and big things and fun things, got no problem with it. There's not a lot of guys that can get that deal. Masvidal's in that spot. I have no problem with that. Connor's in that spot. I have no problem with that. I think it's great. It's unique. We observe it when it happens a time or two. But for sure, no matter how much we love Nick and how fun that would be to come back, he's in that same spot. There's not a contender that is now re-entering the pool. This is a guy who you love to see re-entering. So I'm still stuck with the same question that I began this piece with, which is simply, who should Nick's opponent be?